Hi guys, James at Rampant Lion Reviews again for you today. For this one, we are going to do another out and about video for you. So today, I am still in Nagoya in Aichi Prefecture here in Japan, and we're going to have a little look at this place behind me, which is Beer Pub Brick Lane. Now, Beer Pub Brick Lane is one of the first craft beer bars that opened in Nagoya, and it is also the first venture of the people behind Totopia Brewery. So this, in a way, is kind of one of the unofficial Totopia taprooms, if you like. You can go to the brewery on Saturdays and Sundays, from what I understand, and drink the cans there, but this is one of their own places where you can get their own beer, which is kind of cool. But yeah, we'll do as we always do. We'll go in, we'll have a little look around, we'll try some of the beers, and they've got some nice food here as well, from what I gather. So we'll have a little look at that. But I hope you guys enjoy this one. Let's get started. Alright guys, so this is the exterior of Beer Pub Brick Lane, and it's kind of interesting because it's on a little bit of an almost kind of nondescript street. This is Hukuro Machidori, if I'm remembering the name of the street right. So yeah, there's not too much else around apart from this pub on this particular street. So yeah, it's kind of cool. There you can see over here, Beer Pub Brick Lane, craft beers and burgers. And yeah, there you can see open daily 2 o'clock till 11 o'clock, and the food stops at 10 p.m. But yeah, we've got this nice little sign here, but this place is really cool actually. So yeah, you can see they've got their taps and stuff over here, their little kitchen at the back, and yeah, it is just a really nice kind of small intimate space. And of course we have one of our regular guests on the channel with us today, Jordan of Jordan in Japan, outsider inside Japan as well.
Outside in Japan.
I always get that wrong, but he's already got his first beer. But I think it's time to get trying some beers, eh? Alright guys, well, time for our first tasting then here at Beer Pub Brick Lane. So the first beer that we're going to have a look at was one that I just like the name of. It's a style that Totopia are very well known for, and it's also a collaboration with a Korean brewery, which is nice to see. And I haven't actually tried anything from this Korean brewery yet either, but that is something that I might be able to fix very soon. We'll just need to see. But yeah, beer number one is called Kampai Phobia, which is ironic because the Japanese do like to drink, so being scared of Kampai is a bit unusual, I guess we could say. But yeah, this is a collaboration with Seoul Brewery from Korea, 6.5% New England hazy, whatever you want to call it, IPA. So yeah, as you can see, it pours this lovely kind of bright mixed tropical fruit juice colour. When it came out, it had a lovely kind of fluffy white head on it, but that of course has faded away to just be a very thin kind of foamy layer at the moment. So yeah, it looks nice, this one. You can see, remember, the haze on these beers is dependent usually on the oak content, wheat content, and to a degree what yeast you use. But yeah, it's one of the trademarks of the New England hazy IPAs, and yeah, I will say that about Totopia. I haven't had too many different styles of beer from these guys, but they do a very good hazy IPA. So that was one of the reasons why we started with this one. But they've got a couple of interesting beers of theirs on the tap as well. But yeah, appearance-wise, nothing particularly surprising about this one when you consider what style it is. Let's have a wee look at the nose and see what we get. Oh yeah, really nice, soft, juicy New England IPA. The Totopia beers, I think, when it comes to their IPAs, they tend to be quite oaty leaning. The wheat isn't too bitey, and they're very smooth IPAs actually. And this one's really soft and juicy. Good mix of like citrus and kind of tropical fruit as well actually. So yeah, this is really nicely balanced. The backbone of the beer, lovely fresh white ready bread crust, wee bit of like cracker and ruby sort of thing, a little bit of yeah, like a little bit of like sweet kind of brown bready note to it, fluffy white bread as well. You can smell the like denser wheat in there too. Not, as I say, not too bitey at the back of the nose. And then you've got this nice oaty creaminess on top. Not too much sweetness in this one, like a little bit of biscuit and just a little bit of like Werther's original butter candy butterscotch. Green component on this one is nice and bright. Remember, with IPAs you have 3 types of hopping that you can do. You have early edition hopping, which takes place within the first hour of the wort boil. That gives you mainly bitterness and a deeper, danker sort of aroma. Late edition hopping, which takes place usually within the last half hour of the wort boil, and that gives you a little bit of bitterness, but mainly a brighter green component. And then you've got dry hopping, which takes place after the wort boil is complete. That's all about flavour, no bitterness. And yeah, New England IPAs tend to rely on late edition and dry hopping. West Coast IPAs use all 3, which is why your New Englands are kind of softer and more juicy, and why the West Coast IPAs are that kind of more, have that more deep and dank quality to it. But yeah, green component in this one, tiny little bit of earthiness, mainly very bright and floral, good little bit of zesty grassiness in there. There's something in my head tells me this beer has maybe Idaho 7 in it and Mosaic, because you've got that nice soft tropical juicy fruity note in it. It could also be something telling me it might be a bit of Galaxy, but yeah, I think maybe Galaxy or Idaho 7 for the tropical side of things, and I think Mosaic for the more orangey side. There's definitely an orangey note to this one. So yeah, for me, little bit of peachy character, which makes me think Galaxy. Lots of passion fruit, lots of big juicy mango. That could be either Galaxy or Idaho 7. A little bit of pineapple as well. Little touch of like softer apricot and stuff underneath, but not too much. And then yeah, you've got the tangerine orangey note at the front of the nose, and the earthiness in the green component makes me think Mosaic as well. But yeah, spilling a wee bit. I don't want to spill too much of this. They filled it right to the brim for me. But yeah, as I always say, take a bit of time to enjoy the aroma of the beer before you get stuck in. I think it's time to try this one. So yeah, Kampai Phobia, still the name is quite funny because the Japanese love to drink. 6.5% New England Hazy IPA from Totopia in Nagakute to the south of us here in Nagoya, and Seoul Brewery from you know where in Korea. Let's get stuck in. Slanju Skol, cheers, Kampai, Ganbe. Oh yeah, that's really nice. Again, it's interesting to try this on tap, because one thing I've often said you get with Japanese beers is drinkability. You know, the Japanese view beers is something that should go down quite nicely. So very often you'll find that Japanese beers, regardless of the style, how heavy it is, they always have this element of like cleanliness and drinkability to them. That's immediately evident in this beer. The mouthfeel is really, really clean and very nice. Then you get all the flavours you expect of the New England IPA in the aftertaste. It's lovely. But another solid beer from these guys. I've had this style from Totopia many times, and this one certainly doesn't disappoint. So, really nice. Backbone of the beer. Fresh white bready bread crust in there, little bit of wood, little bit of cracker as you often get. Into the aftertaste you start to get a little touch of brown bread. There's a wee bit of white bread there in the middle of the palate too, and then on top of that you get the wheat. So the wheat has a little bit of density to it, and there's a wee bit of, there's like a little bit of a kind of wheaty bitiness at the back of the palate too. So yeah, for me, there's not too much oatiness in this one, actually. In the aroma, it smells pretty oaty, but in the actual flavour, it's not so oaty, more wheaty leaning. But middle of the palate, you've got a wee bit of like Werther's Original, butter candy, butterscotch, and a little bit of like McVitie's digestive biscuit, I think, as well. So that's really nice. Just from memory, this is one of the lighter mouthfeel Totopias that I've had, so it's quite interesting. I wonder if that's the influence of Soul Brewery. Not quite sure. I'll find out in the future though. But yeah, back third of the palate, you get the yeasty side of the beer, and for me, the yeastiness is, it's kind of like a mix of cracker and fluffy white bread. So yeah, that's really nice in this one. Yeah, I really do like how that goes together actually. Like definitely a mix of cracker and white bread. Green Gabonite in this one. It does have a little touch of bitterness to it, this beer, but not too much. There's a little bit of earthiness in there. As you move further forward, you get a wee touch of like piney dankness for sure, but that fades away quite quickly. As you move further forward, lots of floral aromaticity, some zesty grassy notes in there, and then yeah, the Green Gabonite is kind of wet. Then you've got all the fruity character coming out of the beer as well, which is nice. So let's focus on that front third of your palate and the fruity side of things to round off this one. So, at the back of that, as I always say, on that front third of your palate, you get the nice oily bubble where the juicy fruity esters roll the way out of the beer. At the back, you've got a little bit of like peach, and as you come further forward, maybe a tiny bit of grapefruit, not very much, but then yeah, further forward you've got peach, a lot of juicy mango in this one, wee bit of passion fruit, pineapple as well. Yeah, I'm thinking more Galaxy. The fruit's just a little bit more kind of pungent in the flavour. I think Galaxy is a bit more likely than Idaho 7 in this one. Playing Guess the Hops is always an interesting game. Right enough. It didn't say on the can actually. But yeah, this one I think is very nice regardless. It's just always fun to play. But yeah, a little bit of apricot in the middle of that front third of your palate too. And then yeah, in the front half of that front third of your tongue, it's all about the sort of tangerine orange. Yeah, lots of tangerine orange coming out of this one. So yeah, lovely New England IPA. This one, very easy to drink actually, dangerously easy to drink. But yeah, in terms of the mouthfeel, this one, like I said, it's very kind of light, very clean. It's a mid-bodied beer, maybe bottom end of mid-bodied. You get a lot of the flavour out of this one into the aftertaste. It's more clean in the beginning. But yeah, your IBU in this one is probably about 30. Your malty backbone has a little bit of dryness underneath, smoothness in the middle, and a wee touch of sweetness on top. Then you've got that lovely, juicy, sort of fruity character coming out of this one. So yeah, the way that this beer goes together, I think, is really, really very, very nice. So very good start here at Beer Pub Brick Lane, so really happy that we got to start off this one. And nice to have a reintroduction to Soul Brewery as well. I need to go back to Korea and actually visit Soul Brewery's place, so you can keep an eye out for that out and about video in the future. But yeah, this was Kampai Phobia. Sorry, I told you lies at the start, 6.3%, not 6.5%. New England IPA from Soul Brewery in Korea, and Totopia here just from the south to Nagakute. To remember that, Nagakute just to the south of Nagoya. Catch you guys in a second with something else. There's quite a few interesting things here to try. Cheers. Alright guys, well here's a little quick look at the tap list here then at Beer Pub Brick Lane. We're here on the 28th of December 2024. So yeah, number 1, Force Phobia. New England Hazy Double IPA, 8%. Then down to number 5, there's Gravity Phobia, 8.5%. This one, same style. Kyoto Brewing Fruit Sour at 6%. Then they've got Teenage and Yuya Boys, a double IPA. Not heard of either of those breweries actually. I'll need to ask a little bit about that. But then yeah, number 2, Peace Phobia, which I think is quite a popular one. I think that's a fairly recent one that's had good write-ups. A hazy IPA at 7.5%. Chic Phobia, a sour IPA, a style that Totopia are also very good at, incidentally. Then the Kampai Phobia, New England IPA with Soul Brewery at number 6, 6.3%. Then they've got one of the West Coast Brewing Sidechain series, an APA, And then at the end, they have Hudson Valley Brewery Isosceles Sour Double IPA at 8% ABV. So yeah, a nice tap selection here then at Beer Pub Brick Lane. So yeah, there you go. Alright guys, well, time for tasting number 2 then here at Beer Pub Brick Lane. And yeah, another style that Totopia are fairly well known for is their sour IPAs. Now, this is a style that I've noticed is a little bit popular in Japan.
We do have them.
Yeah, but you don't get too many of them elsewhere that I come across all that often, in fairness. Have you had some of them?
I've definitely had a few summer IPAs, but it's not a style I've had very much of, and I've never had one from Totopia.
I think I've had 2 or 3 from them before, come to think of it, and they're always good, they're quite interesting. And they remind me in a bit, I remember going back to when I was just starting out the channel, Magic Rock Brewing. They used to put acidulated malt in their beers, and it gave it this sort of waxy, citricy kind of feel in the mouth.
Sorry, can you explain what is acidulated malt?
Acidulated. They just, I actually don't know how exactly they treat it, but they put like an acidified kind of sugar on the outside.
Okay, interesting.
So yeah, it gives it this kind of citricy, waxy sort of feel.
Okay.
But yeah, the sour IPAs that you get in Japan kind of remind me of those Magic Rock beers like Cannonball, for example, back in the day. And they're from Yorkshire, I forget what town, in Huddersfield, I think maybe. In Yorkshire, which is where Magic Rock were from. But yeah, anyway, I know this style, as I say, I come across these most from Japan, and I know Rika from liquor shop Asahiya in Osaka, Koji's daughter, she loves sour IPA, so this style does have a little bit of a following in Japan. Because Vertere are another brewery that do these quite regularly as well.
I haven't had anything like that.
Oh, you need to. I know, you need to. But yeah, anyway, to actually show you the beer itself, this one is called Chic Phobia. Comes in at 6% ABV, and it's a dry hopped sour IPA. So you can see, yeah, lovely kind of bright yellow mango juice colour.
Sure, yeah.
Something like that. This beer, when it poured, it did have a little bit of a head. I've noticed this with sour IPAs. They don't hold their head that well.
All right.
Actually.
What?
Maybe the pH, I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
Something like that. But yeah, got a little bit of haze to it, because no doubt, knowing Totopia, it will have a little bit of wheat and a little bit of oat in there as well. But yeah, not too much visible carbonation. The head has pretty much gone. It was a kind of cream colour, I think, for sure.
It actually looks like green tea. It has a very, if I got this in a Japanese cafe, I would think I didn't serve green tea. It's like yellowish.
Interesting. We'll do the nose then.
I can't help it because it has a very striking.
It's almost got a bit of vanilla to it. That's interesting. Really vanilla and sweet almost.
It's very sweet. This is candy all the way.
Yeah, like vanilla and sweet, I would say. I like that though, the aroma's lovely.
I'm not sure what to expect.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, the aroma, the vanilla comes out quite nicely. Other than that, in the malt base, there's like the white bready bread crust, teeny tiny bit of cracker, lots of white bread. I'm wondering, I get a bit of fruity creaminess, so I'm wondering if what do you call it? The vanilla's coming from the oats. What do you think?
I wonder if maybe they use that inside. Didn't say in the description.
Maybe. I think they have this one in can actually. I think it's the blue one.
You check the can out. Well, anyway, could be from.
We can maybe show that a bit later and just see if we've got it right.
And grab one.
Yeah. But yeah, white bread. The yeasty side of this one is not too noticeable. A bit of white bread.
I'm not getting it too much.
It's maybe also a little bit yogurty actually.
Yeah, I would definitely say I do something in there. It's the sourness and the sweetness together. I'm definitely getting a
It's a sort of yogurty. It almost looks like the rhubarby vanilla type kind of thing.
It smells like one of those yogurt drinks.
Custard. Maybe. Something like that going on in here, which is quite interesting. The green component for me, it says this one is dry hopped. So there is a bit of green component there, mainly floral, mainly grassy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there's a bit. I get more and more Werther's original, you know, like butter candy, butterscotch.
really?
The more that I smell of it, that vanilla yogurty sort of thing becomes more.
Okay.
Yeah, it becomes more brown sugary later on. So yeah.
This smells exactly like any people who've been to Japan a while. So Family Mart's discontinued line of drinks. They had a vanilla lassi that they used to sell, and it was a yogurty, salty yogurty vanilla drink.
Oh, I love lassi. I do love lassi.
Sold at Family Mart convenience stores, and they don't have it anymore. Sadly, it was really good, and it was kind of salty, so it's really nice. And it smelled a lot like this.
I would love that. Sad face.
Yeah.
Yeah, green. Yeah, mainly floral and grassy on the green one. You can smell that bit of like sour citric in the top of the nose. Fruity wise, apricot, pear,
Yeah. Sure.
gooseberry.
Yeah, again,
Like white green grapes, gooseberry type.
Okay.
Nelson Sauvin maybe.
Okay.
Or I mean, Hallertau Blanc is an outside bit, but that's not used very often in Japan.
No.
Enigma from Australia would be another one, but I think
Chances
most
is
likely,
pretty low.
most likely Nelson Sauvin, I think, in this one.
Nelson's what he was used,
On top, so pear, apricot, maybe a bit of pineapple, gooseberry thing there.
I'm not getting pineapple. I'm getting pineapple from for sure.
Anything else?
Yeah, everything becomes candied to me because of the sweetness. Like candied pineapple, dried fruits, candied pineapple, candied what is it?
Sure. It's interesting anyway. Anything else we should say about this before we drink it? Let's try this one then. So Chic Phobia, 6% dry hop sour IPA. Kampai. Kampai. I'm scared to cheers this one. There we go. Yeah. They fill it up right to the brim here, for sure. That's nice. That's got a little bit of vanilla or something in it. I'm pretty sure.
Well, I'm actually quite happy with the flavor. So the nose was so sweet, but it has much. I mean, obviously the sugar has been taken up by the yeast, so it's not going to bring the flavor so much. But it's a very crisp, sour, crisp tartness.
It's to me, it's a very. The malt base is very sort of candied. So this kind of candy sugar type vibe to it. I think they've added vanilla into that.
They really might have.
I'm actually tempted. I want to pause this a second and grab the can. Oh wait, Kim's going to go. Okay, so let's go through this then. So yeah, for me, very candied. Mouthfeel wise, very kind of oily and very slick. It's a really interesting beer, this one, for sure, actually. I think it's quite, really is quite kind of in the backbone of the beer. Fresh white bready breakfast in there. You have a little bit of, there's a little bit of like Jacob's cream cracker or something for sure. A little bit of woodiness into the aftertaste. You do get a little touch of like brown bread in there. And on top of that, there's the white bread. And then a little touch of like biscuit or butterscotch or something. And like in the dead center of your palate, there's a little oily circle there. A little bit of biscuit. So in the middle of your palate, you've got that little circle there, where there's original butter candy butterscotch, maybe a tiny little touch of caramel in the centre of the palate, and then it has more of a kind of biscuity character on the very edge of the palate. No can of that one. I must have thought it was something else.
I was gonna ask, but they're really busy right now. So.
I thought I saw the can of this earlier. Anyway, so I just did the malty part of the beer. Yeasty side of this one, at the back of the palate. a mix of like sweet brown bread and sweet white bread. A wee touch of like an almost like butter popcorn.
I can get that. I can get the butter
A
popcorn.
little bit of a kind of buttery popcorn on top of the yeast at the back of the palate, but sweet brown and white bread for sure.
Interesting, yeah.
So yeah, the way that that goes together is really quite nice. Yeah. I don't know if there's much else to say about the yeasty side of this beer. No. The green component is very wet and very light. There's a little bit of kind of earthiness there on the back, but that's very minimal. But as you come further, it's very wet, as I say. There's a little bit of floral character on the front corners of the palate, and a little bit of a kind of more wet, grassy sort of thing. Yeah, coming out of it too, around the front curve of the tongue. So, yeah, interesting stuff, I think. Fruity side of the beer then, front third of the palate, what do you think? What do you reckon about the fruity side of this one?
Like lemon jumps out at me right away. And like lemon and sort of mixed citrus.
Yeah. I mean, for me, the lemon citric thing from the yeast that they're using for this one, obviously for the sour IPA, you get that little bit of citricy character kind of at the back of the palate and then further forward as well. But on the front third of your tongue, you get that nice oily bubble where the fruity esters just roll their way out of the beer, and then. Yeah, the way that fruity side of thing comes out is really interesting because at the back of that front third of the palate you get that citricy sharpness. As you come further forward, I think you start to get this kind of like sultana, peary sort of note in the base. Maybe even a little bit of like a datey type character as well, which is really interesting. Yeah, so I get more, I get that, the citricy sharpness at the back, the pear and the date coming further forward, and then maybe a bit of dry apricot in the middle of that front third of your palate. And then in the front half of the tongue, maybe a little like kind of gooseberry, white grapes, something like that, and then maybe a wee touch of lime behind the kind of front tip of the tongue. Could be Motueka. Motueka wouldn't surprise me with this either.
Motueka, okay.
Yeah, New Zealand hop, yeah. The juiciness that you get out of this has me thinking Australia or New Zealand rather than American. American hops are just that little bit more oily almost. Yeah.
Have you ever tried a fruit called feijoa? I think it's originally Brazilian. This feijoa, it's reminding me of feijoa. But recently I've discovered this. We have a tree near our house. And I looked it up and it's a fruit called feijoa. So I recommend that you get a hold of feijoa. It's a very nice fruit. Anyways.
Oh, interesting.
It has kind of tartness and sweetness together.
I mean, I would say, this one, into the aftertaste, the lemony citric flavors there, some of the pear, the sultana type flavors, the apricot as well, and then, a bit of that almost candy, vanilla, yogurty type.
Yeah, vanilla yogurt, I'll go with that.
So I think, mouthfeel-wise, mid-bodied, pushing toward the top end of mid-bodied. There's not a lot of carbonation in this one. No. You get a little prickle in the beginning, but then it's very oily and slick. IBU-wise, this is very low. This is like 20 or maybe 20 IBUs.
Not getting much better.
Malt base is a bit dry underneath, smooth in the middle, it has a dry sweetness on top, and of course you've got that slightly citricy note to it. And then, the fruitiness, you've got that sharp citricy note, of course. It's not going to blow the head off with that, it's not overbearing, definitely not. And you've just got that nice, juicy, fruity character afterwards as well. So, an interesting beer, this one.
It is. I haven't had anything quite like this before.
I mean, sour IPAs for me, I treat them as an every so often beer, like a something different beer, basically. Not something I would go in session Like,
Right.
not something like that. These for me are a kind of treat beer. Like it's maybe a good transition beer from an IPA over to a sour. Like if you want to have a Flanders Red or something like that, this is a good transition beer. Sure. Yeah, I like it. I do like this. So thumbs up to Totopia. This is a style they can do quite well. And if you're interested in Japanese brewed ones, Vertere is another brewery you want to check out. I think we can leave it at that for this one. Our food arrived, so yeah, we're going to get cracking on that. Catch you guys in just a second. Alright guys, well let's have a little look at the food menu here then at Beer Pub Brick Lane. So yeah, this place is really well known for its burgers, so you've got a good mix of different burgers here. A basic burger, which is just your regular hamburger, cheeseburger, teriyaki burger, hot crunchy, butter chicken, which sounds quite interesting, the chicken burger as well. Then you can add all these extra toppings and things on it too. Remember that 1,000 Japanese yen these days is maybe about £5.50 sterling, so yeah, 50 Hong Kong dollars ish, maybe about 70 Swedish kroner, €7, and what, about $7.50 American, something like that. So that gives you a rough kind of price guide there. But yeah, they've got tacos and things down here as well, some different soft drinks too. Then yeah, you've got your kind of beer snacks, some fish and chips, chicken and chips, fried calamari, jalapeno popper, fried jalapeno, onion rings, french fries, chili cheese fries, nachos, stuff like that. The mac and cheese as well, I think we'll need to try that. Spicy cauliflower, a sausage plate, some light meals down here, nuts, pickles, olives, vegetable stick, tomato marinade, smoke plate, garlic toast, smoked tongue, and then of course yeah, they've got a few cocktails and things like that too. So yeah, gin and tonic, Moscow Mule, whiskey coke, vodka orange, whiskey soda, vodka soda. I'm not sure what this one is. The Kuro Kirishima could be quite interesting. Lemon chuhai, of course, too. Then a few soft drinks down there as well. But yeah, quite a good menu. They also had burritos and pulled pork on special the day that we came as well. So yeah, nice menu at Beer Pub Brick Lane. There you go. Let's see what we order a bit later. Alright guys, so our food arrived, and I have to say it looks pretty damn good actually. So there was mac and cheese on the menu, so had to go for that. I love a bit of mac and cheese. What's your burger, Jordan?
This is the basic burger.
Ah, okay. So it's just a regular like hamburger,
Regular
basically.
hamburger with some veggies, that's it.
Oh, nice. Okay, and I've gone for my favourite classic, the bacon cheeseburger with some nice fries. So, yeah, let's see what the food's like, because we've heard good things about the burgers. You said you had it here 10 years ago?
About 10 years ago when I first came here, before they were brewing their own beer.
Ah, yeah, exactly. So this is, Jordan had this pre-Totopia era. Let's do this. Right guys, so our food just arrived and I think it's time to have a little look at this. I'm very, very curious. So, yeah, first off we have a little look at the fries. A little bit of ketchup first. Those are nice. Like, crispy on the outside, soft on the inside. And they've just got a little touch of like salt is seasoning it. It works, solid. Okay. We get wooden spoons with our mac and cheese in this little frying pan thing. I think this is really cool. I'll show them it. So yeah, it comes in a little frying pan like this, which is awesome. But yeah, let's have a wee taste of this. It's got cheddar on the top too, so I'm really quite curious about this. It looks great, Bobby. Look at that. That nice just consistency to it, which is essential for good mac and cheese. That's good, yeah. You know, I have to admit, it's one thing, like when I go to America and try mac and cheese, quite often I find the cheese a little bit bland. They've got a really nice blend here. They've got, you know, I love strong cheese, blue cheese, whatever, gorgonzola, I love it. They've just got a really nice blend here of like the softer cheeses underneath, then the sort of cheddar coating, and they've got a little bit of like powdered cheddar or something like that on top as well. It just gives it a really nice balance. You've got the creamy cheese in there, but also that slightly stronger flavour that comes out later on.
Paprika on top.
Oh yeah. Has got a little bit, but that's a good mac and cheese.
It is. Yeah.
Gordon Ramsay loves a mac and cheese. He's one angry Scotsman. Me as well, and another angry Scotsman. I love my mac and cheese too. Happy with that. So, mac and cheese gets a thumbs up. Now, main event. The burger. Look at that. You can see. Beautiful looking, the bacon's nice and crispy, the cheese is really nice, the consistency as well. There's a wee bit of oil running out of it, but it looks like a really nice beer. Look at the bun as well, a little touch of sesame seed in there. So let's just do this. The guy next to us was telling us the burgers are very good, so let's have a wee look at this and just see. Oh yeah. Look. They just left it that little bit red inside to give you the wee bit of extra flavour. That's really damn good. The cheese, I think the cheese is cheddar as well. Yeah, slightly stronger cheese. That's a beautiful burger. Like, you know, you say craft beer and burgers, I will tell you straight away, you are going to get a good burger here. It's a good size as well. I mean, you know, in Japan you have to get used to this. The portions are just that little bit smaller. But I think for a Japanese meal, that's a pretty hefty burger actually. It's a decent size. You can obviously, you can as you saw on the menu, you can customize the burgers and stuff like this and add things in. A bacon double cheeseburger would have been good here as well. I maybe should have done that, but whatever. But that's a beautiful burger.
You wouldn't know, but there's a lot of lettuce on this.
Yeah. I wouldn't know, I didn't want the lettuce. Plain bacon cheeseburger is where it's at. That's lovely. Try the burgers if you come here to Beer Pub Brick Lane. Let's leave it at that for the food section. We've got another beer to do, and I think that'll be that. Catch you guys in just a second. Cheers. Alright guys, well, time for our third and final tasting then here at Beer Pub Brick Lane. So, we are going to go back to the New England hazy style, but we're going to get a little bit stronger, and I think this is the strongest beer that they have on the menu. So, yeah, this one is one that I haven't tried from them before, but it's called Gravity Phobia, which, being a science teacher, I thought, again, was quite funny. And that's, I guess, the thing with the Totopia beers, they're always finding a new thing to be scared of for the name. But yeah, 8.5% New England hazy, Imperial, whatever you want to call it, IPA. This one has Nelson Sauvin, Mosaic, and a little bit of Citra in it. So a kind of classic mix, if you like. This one should be pretty damn good. And this is, again, is a style that I know Totopia can do very, very well. So when the beer poured, it had about a quarter finger of a frothy, I would have said kind of cream-coloured head. Lovely kind of pale sort of mango mixed tropical fruit juice colour, this one. You can see it's pretty damn hazy, this, as you'd expect with it being a little bit further up the alcohol scale. Not too much in the way of visible carbonation, but it looks absolutely great and pretty much as you would expect from a New England double IPA. So yeah, let's have a little look at the nose on this one then and see what it's all about. That one smells really, really nice. Yeah, again, nothing surprising about this when you consider what style it is, but it's just a really, really nicely done. This is going to be a good beer, you can just tell that straight away. Now, this one, again, very soft and very creamy, a little bit fuller aroma-wise than the Kanpai Phobia was, but the aroma almost comes across as being a little bit more subtle, so that's quite an interesting thing. But yeah, more of a kind of oaty, kind of creamy vibe coming out of this one as well, I would say. But a bit more wheat presence too, so it's nicely balanced. Yeah, so the backbone of this beer, the aroma, lovely kind of fresh white bready notes in there, white bready bread crust, Jacob's cream cracker of course, little touch of woodiness as you always get, but yeah, a lot of white bready note coming out of this one, like fluffy fresh white bread. You can smell that more dense wheaty character in there as well. The wheat does have a little bit of bitiness. at the back of the nose. So yeah, wheaty bitiness at the back of the nose, more dense, smooth white bread in there as well from the wheat, and there's a lot of oatiness in this one. It's quite creamy, but again the oats smell just that little bit drier. So I've often said for me European oats are a bit more creamy, but American oats are just that little bit drier. And Australian oats, I think, are somewhere in between. So I'd be curious to know where the oats in this one have been sourced from, just out of pure nerdiness, you know. But yeah, nice little bit of oaty creaminess in there. The other interesting thing about this one is that being 8.5%, you might expect a little bit of kind of brown sugary sweetness out of this one, but that doesn't really appear in this particular beer. It's more, the sweetness tends to come more from the oaty notes, and it's almost just very slightly vanilla-y. But yeah, there is a little touch of that Werther's original butter candy butterscotch sort of thing that really takes a back seat to the oats in this case. So yeah, the way that the malty side of this beer comes together is really, really nice. Quite oaty leaning, but still a good presence of wheat, and of course that barley malt backbone. The yeasty side of this one, the yeasty side of this beer is a mix of like brown bread. There's a little bit of brown bread in there, but quite a sweet white bread. And again, you've got a little bit of there's a little bit of a sort of crackery, farmhousey bready type note to this one as well. But yeah, yeasty side of the beer takes a bit of a back seat to the malty side. I think it's fair to say that. Yeah. So, hoppy side of things, the green component in this one, from what I understand, there were a few incognito things in this. I think there was a bit of Mosaic and a bit of Nelson Sauvin incognito. I think the Citra was just pellets according to the can. But yeah, the green component in this one, as a result of that incognito hop oil, it's basically very, very smooth. There's a teeny tiny little bit of earthiness in there, really not much at all. But then yeah, lovely big oily green component in there. Juicy, grassy character as well. Yeah, the green component in this one, I'd say it's more oily rather than anything else. But yeah, I really like how that goes together, that's for sure. Yeah, on the fruity side of things, if you know these hops, it kind of gives you what you'd expect. You do get a little bit of the grapefruit, passion fruit, peach sort of thing, that's coming from the Citra. There is a little bit of juicier mango in there as well, for sure. But yeah, the Nelson Sauvin is quite obvious, the gooseberry, white, green, grapey kind of characters. Then, yeah, you've got that lovely tangerine orangey character sitting on top of it. Yeah, everything you'd expect from these hops. This beer smells absolutely lovely. I think it's about time to taste this one then. So yeah, like I said, this is our third and final beer here at Beer Pub Brick Lane. Gravity Phobia, a triple dry hopped hazy New England double IPA. This one. Let's do it. Kampai. Yeah, that is a very, very oaty leaning New England. Really, really nicely done. It gives you a bit more wheat into the aftertaste right now. You do get a bit of the wheaty bitiness pushing its way out, and it's very fresh as well. But it's kind of good. It's good because it's not really giving you any hot burn or anything. But you can tell this one, it's very fresh. I think they've got the pellet and the incognito in the hop bill really well balanced in this too. That's very interesting actually. These guys know what they're doing with the hazy IPAs. I will admit, I would love to see Totopia do some West Coast IPAs as well and try a few more different styles. But the hazies, they have got those down. They are really good in this category. That's a lovely beer, for sure. Okay, let's break this down then. The backbone of the beer, lovely, fresh, white ready bread crust, of course. Further forward on that middle third of the palate, a wee bit of woodiness, little layer of cracker above that, some brown bready notes. Then you've got white bready character, a lot of dense, wheaty white bready character coming out of this one. But then, yeah, a big bit of oat in this one. So down the middle line of your tongue, you'll feel that really creamy oaty note, and then out toward the edge of the that middle third of your palate, you can feel the oats just dry out slightly, and they become a little bit more kind of porridgey and oily in a sense. So it's really interesting how that goes together. That's for sure. Yeah, that's absolutely lovely. Really nicely done beer, this one. Yeah, I think that's everything. Apart from saying there's in the centre of your palate, you've got a little touch of like Werther's original butter candy butterscotch and a wee bit of biscuity sweetness coming out of this one. Yeah, the way that all of that goes together is really nice. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, malty side of this one, really nicely done. The back third of your palate and the yeasty character. I would say the yeasty side of this one it's got a little bit of a more kind of grainy bready character to it. It's got a little bit of bitey spice to it at least. So yeah, the way that goes together is really nice. So yeah, a little bit more crackery, farmhousey bready note from the yeasty side of things. Not too much else to say about that. On the green component, little touch earthy in the back corners of the palate. As you move further forward, very slightly piney. But then yeah, your green component is really nice and oily. It's got a lovely kind of floral note to it. Around the front curve of the tongue, a little bit lighter and grassy, slightly zesty. And then yeah, the fruity side of this beer on the front third of your palate is really nice too, that lovely oily bubble. But if you know these hops, again, it's doing exactly what you would expect them to. At the back of that front third of your palate, there's a little touch of that kind of, you know, dank, sour, sort of grapefruity note there. As you move further forward, a little touch of peach, some juicy mango, but yeah, the Citra takes a back seat in this one. The underside of that front third of your palate, it's all about the Nelson Sauvin and the white green grapey sort of notes and the gooseberries. So yeah, the way that goes together, I think, is really nice. Lovely juicy orangey character from the more tangerine from the mosaic in this one for sure. But so nicely done. Yeah, that's a lovely New England double, this one. It's a big thumbs up from me. I'm very happy with that. So well done to Totopia for this beer. This is really good. I have had beers this quality from them before. I'm not surprised in a good way, but you know, when you pick up a New England beer of any description from Totopia, you're going to get something good quality, and this has not disappointed me at all. This is really good. Yeah, so mouthfeel wise, again, this beer is it's really quite drinkable in a way. This one has a bit more oiliness to it than the other two that I've had so far. So I'd say it's still mid-bodied, and again, that's the Japanese drinkability, cleanliness sort of factor. You have that in here. This has got a bit more oily slightness to it. Mid-bodied, maybe pushing the top end of mid-bodied. Carbonation has a little bit of a prickle to it. Your IBU in this one, I think, is about 40, but it's quite an oily drinkable one you get. It comes out more into the aftertaste. Lovely, juicy, fruity sort of character to this one, but it's very slightly oily as well. And your malt base a little bit drier underneath, smoother in the middle, and kind of creamy and slightly sweet on top. Really nicely done beer, this one. A nice way to round off the beer tastings here at Beer Pub Brick Lane. So yeah, let's leave it at that for this one. This was the Gravity Phobia a New England double IPA, 8.5% ABV. I'll be back in a little second just to give you my final thoughts, but yeah, catch you then. Alright guys, so they do actually have a nice little fridge of beers that you can buy and take away. So yeah, here they've got a collaboration with Kyoto Brewing Company. That's a hazy IPA with wild strawberries. They've got the Kampai Phobia New England IPA, which is a collaboration with Soul Brewery. This one here, I think, had blueberries and stuff in it. So this one is called Spill Phobia, a dry hopped sour IPA with blueberries, strawberries and brown sugar in it. Sounds quite interesting. The purple one over here, this is Kakusophilia. So it's not a phobia, this one, but yeah, this is with Amakusa Sonar Beer and Witchcraft Market. Sounds really interesting as well. A dry hop sour IPA with peony, grapes and vanilla. Yeah, quite an unusual one. So Totopia getting a little bit more adventurous, I guess we should say. This one is Gravity Phobia, which is a New England double IPA. Sounds quite interesting. And then over here, the white one, I forget the name of this. This one is the Classic Phobia, which is a West Coast lager, a style I've never tried from Totopia actually. So maybe worth looking at as well. But yeah, nice little selection of Totopia beers here at Beer Pub Brick Lane, which is to be expected, of course. So there you go. Alright guys, well that is the end of our time then here at Beer Pub Brick Lane in Nagoya, Aichi here in Japan. So we had a nice couple of hours here actually. We were here for maybe about 2.5, 3 hours, something like that. We got to try 3 different beers from Totopia, a New England Hazy, a Sour IPA, and then also a New England Double at the end. All 3 very, very good quality, as you would expect from Totopia Brewery. And yeah, the food I was very impressed with as well. The people behind the bar were very friendly. Jordan, of course, speaks pretty damn good Japanese. Mine is very limited, but they were very patient with us. We had a really, really nice time, and I would thoroughly recommend that you come here. This place has been around for quite some time, actually. Jordan was saying that it's been about 10 years since he was last here. So yeah, that's quite impressive that a wee place like this has a local following strong enough to kind of keep it going despite the pandemic and all these sort of crazy things. But yeah, lovely little place, one of the Nagoya craft beer staples. I would highly recommend you come and check out. And of course you can try some Totopia beer on tap here, which is one of the best hazy breweries in Japan, that's for sure. So yeah, let's leave it at that for this. And once again, thank you for watching my videos. Until the next time, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Let me know your own thoughts on this place. If you've been, make sure you go and check out Jordan's channel. I'll put the link to his social media stuff in the description for you below. And yeah, I'll catch you guys with another video very, very soon. Till then, ciao just now, Sláinte, Skål, cheers, and Kampai. Beer Pub, Brick Lane, Nagoya, Aichi, Japan. Come and check it out. Cheers.